Okay. Oh, I'm so excited to have you here with me. And everyone, welcome to Randy's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. I've got Shannon Symonds with us here
Yes.
today, and I'm excited to hear her story and to hear about her work and everything about her. So, Shannon, start off. Tell us what you do.
Yeah. So a little about me.
Yeah, a little about
Um,
you and what you do.
so I just retired, so I write full time this last year. It's awesome. And it's really full time. So I'm trying to crank it out. But I just launched a book, which was super fun. Before I worked as an advocate. That was my favorite job, my longest. And if I wasn't doing that, I was working with families at risk, doing parent education, and then a little bit of hospital work. So I've had a taste of things, chasing insurance.
Yeah.
But for 15 years, I worked alongside police and we set up a program and developed it where I went to the homes or wherever the domestic violence occurred, if it was on the street or in the campground, and gave victims the support they needed to do whatever they felt they wanted to do. And I did talk to him about lethality. There's something called a lethality assessment, and there's the big four questions and safety. And my job was basically homicide prevention. I also did sexual assaults, and we had the county crisis line in our pocket, which was great for me because I had 6 kids. So I could flex my schedule. I said, I'm in during the school, I'm out after school. I'm going
Right.
to all the football games and all the baseball games. And if you burn me up all weekend, I'll be at games all day. So it actually worked very nicely. But I did have to, like for 2 years, I think we broke labor laws just trying to get it going. So
Mm.
it was me, and then we finally got to train other people, and it was grand. So
That-
and I did some trauma recovery groups with Portland State University, came out, did the research project with us. That was fun. I liked that. So that was my job.
That is an incredible and it's such a difficult job. My grandfather was a policeman, assistant chief of police in Burbank for
Oh, wow.
for many, many years.
Yeah.
And then my son is now a police
Oh,
officer and a Marine. And then I've got first responders yeah, with my son being in Texas. He's a paramedic and firefighter and everything. And and I've seen family members with
mhm.
abuse and friends
Yeah.
and things like this. And so having seen that side of it, it's so important, I think, the job that you had, because we forget about the victims often.
I think we don't see them. I think
Exactly.
we make a lot of assumptions. Like I was at the Poverty Summit last week speaking, and I told them what I tell everybody that, the United Nations declared that poverty creates domestic violence. And I was like, no, I don't think so. Because I don't care how poor I am. I'm not going to start hitting anybody. I think there's already something going on. And, the truth is when you're a poor college graduate, where do you live? Apartments, right? When
Yeah.
you're down on your luck, where do you live? Apartments or low income housing. And
Mhm.
so I don't know how your apartments were, but I knew everything my neighbors did way too much. Didn't want to know it when I was younger. And if you happen to have privilege or be the generation that we are, where we got to buy a house and you knew that you were having trouble at home, where do you think you'd buy your home? Little
Away.
rural
Yep.
or a big piece of land, a big piece of property. So
Yeah.
if you're in apartments, it's more likely that somebody's going to call 911.
Hmm.
We're going to have lots of calls there. The really scary ones to me were the ones where they did have a lot of money
Hmm.
because leaving meant losing jobs, the threat of somebody having so much money they can take your children. And they were so isolated often,
Hmm.
more than you would expect.
I don't
So,
say
yeah.
wealthy abuse is just as say that or more horrific. Yeah, because of the
Yeah.
isolation that can occur, the dependability,
Mhm.
and the
If
fear that
you're
they can still. Yeah.
if you're a judge or an attorney or running an agency or a business, you know that if you do and you're in a county like I was, a rural county, it'll hit the Facebook scanner page before the officer leaves
Yep.
and everybody will know your business. And so yeah, they wait longer and it can get more deadly, but all of it is important. Everybody's important.
Yep.
And that was the other thing I learned was that I just saw women do the most amazing things, the
Mhm.
strongest things. We helped women move. get restraining orders, make safety plans, get to a shelter that we had. But it, those are big decisions, huge decisions. And when you're rural, sometimes that means getting out of the house barefoot and carrying your kids to a
Oh,
safe place. So,
in the middle of winter. Yeah.
and I've not told many people. I just finally told people at the Poverty Summit. Now that I'm not working, I'll tell you. When I was 27, my marriage changed instantly in one day. Something came out of the closet, and it wasn't safe for me to be there. And so I won't go into that because it affects my kids and everybody else. But I found myself on the side of the highway with 5 kids and $100. And and I remember what people said to me and thought as I fought to get things taken care of. And the Attorney General took our case. And we had I had a lot of walls set up. And I belonged to a church. Interestingly, in the middle of it, I got to meet with leadership. They wanted to know how it was going for me because they wanted to change it at church, which just tickled me to death. So my
Right.
girlfriend and I were running a little grassroots organization because we could see the judgment was so deep. You know, you go home to your mother and your mom says, "Why did he hit you? What did you do to make him hit you?" Because
A
we
generation.
have, yeah, we just have some things that we carry around. In order to be safe, I met my second husband and we decided to have a fresh start, and the state helped us move. And that's how we ended up at the beach with a fresh start. And we stayed off grid as much as you can. My kids weren't allowed to be on the computers at school. The
Mhm.
newspaper put a picture of them once, and I was like, oh my gosh, Eve,
Mm.
I know, but we got our mail in the next town. And so, and my life was really settled when the job came available. And I really didn't tell anybody at work that. Nobody knew. My kids were adopted by my second husband. People always said they look like their dad. And now they're police officers, detectives, medical examiners, all nurses, just all helping and serving kinds of professions. So it, what I learned from that moment in time was that I didn't know the woman sitting next to me until I could be still enough to listen. And if I looked, I saw greatness always. And sometimes in really, really difficult circumstances because they won't leave their children. Yeah. So that's what I did. And I don't know, I've gone off on all that.
Well, that's exactly what I like to talk about is so many times we have stories and journeys that we don't understand. We don't see, like you said, we don't see each other so many times. And if we just take a moment to stop and see and listen, it's amazing how much of the world we could change if we did that. And it's incredible your story because people don't tell those stories and they think they're so alone and they
Yeah.
think that there's no hope and that there's no chance. And so another thing that keeps them trapped, right, is
Mm-hmm.
because of that. And the only way to change that is to share those stories and when it's right and when it's able to be shared to
Well, my
help
kids
those
are all
people.
adults, so I waited.
And that's what it needs to be sometimes, right? Is to wait until they're
Yeah.
ready for that and when you can and do that. But the survey you were talking about, I think Utah just adopted it a few years ago to be able to do
The
those
lethality assessment.
assessments.
Yeah, I did them. I worked at Peace House up in Park City until I retired last year. My stepdaughter was having several surgeries and it just made sense. So, and I loved when I got into the training, Utah is doing a really, really good job with lethality assessments. And if you have a friend or a family member and you're concerned that they're not safe, if you can, get them on the crisis line with one of the nearby places to do one, because it's really eye-opening. I have women call me that don't realize how dangerous things are or what they can do or where they can go.
And
And
men too,
uh-huh.
because we don't often realize that men are often suffering
Oh,
in situations.
yeah, I put the first men in the shelter because my agency, we talked. I said, we can't do this. We got somebody, and my boss was a forward-thinking woman, and she put men in the shelter and approved it. But that's the question that we always ask people that I heard over and over and over about people that were, from police officers even that were frustrated. Why doesn't she just leave? Why doesn't she hit back?
Yeah.
And so
Nothing.
well, it does. It does. But sometimes the outcome is not what you think it will be.
No.
And so that's why I wrote my first book, which is actually a little religious. So if you don't like religion, don't read it. I wrote it for our congregation. And it answers those two questions in a fiction. So you know.
That's a perfect segue. I was just going to say, what was your author journey? And apparently that's exactly it, is it? So you're answering those two questions as a way to do this. What prompted you to write it for your congregation then?
Because that is where I had the hardest time. It's the place you should go that we're Christian. Jesus loves everyone. I love everyone, but not everyone gets that message. And it was interesting to me because I'd been teaching and I'd been really appreciated. And then I moved to my new little rental. I'd stayed with my dad for a couple of months. He was the bishop, so it was fine. And I knew everybody. It's where I grew up. But when I moved into a rental alone and I walked in church, I kept thinking, maybe it's my dress. I had a yellow sweater dress on, But I was also 28, 27, 120 pounds, had long blonde hair. And she walked up to me and she says, "We have some scriptures. Do you need some?" And I said, "Well, I was teaching this class a few weeks ago. So I think I'm good. I think I can handle this." And then there were some really fabulous people, but there were some people that I've laughed with friends. You make them nervous. And that's how victim blaming happens. I don't know if you've ever had a friend get divorced in a group of friends or someone in your congregation. It just rocks our world, especially when we don't know why. And we all start making assumptions and asking, did you find out? Do you know what's going on? I don't know what's going on. And then we start deciding and then we start deciding whose fault it is. And then one person gets isolated. And sometimes it's not the right person. Sometimes, there is no right person. We just shouldn't do that to each other. We should just be supportive of the journey. That's what motivated me, is I wanted people that were a part of my religion to see the two women in the book. There was an advocate, much thinner than me, much prettier. Her house was clean all the time. Her kids were good and her hot tub always ran. So it's fiction. But and a little romance with a cute officer, right? Right. The survivors that she worked with. I hope you fall in love with all the people I write about that are survivors, because I do put them in my stories. And in my last book that I just published, the main character, I have 2 books about her. And it starts with she's surviving, but she just blossoms. And you see who she really was all along. She just stepped sideways for a little bit.
I love that idea. Just stepping back for a little bit.
Yeah. I actually wrote a story for the Poverty Summit. And I read it to them. I said, I'm a writer, so I wrote you a story. And I had heard the world described as, with the best of plans, we go along and it's flat, right? And then all of a sudden there's a cliff and off we go. I don't think it's that simple. I think that the world is full of people that have dug holes and we're looking down and saying, why have you dug that hole? Why is he down there? What is he doing? And people that have created mountains that we have to go around and reached higher heights than we'll ever reach. And there are people who intentionally dig holes that you can fall into. And then there's some holes that are so deep, we call them crevasses. And when we fall into a crevasse and our children fall with us and we're in the bottom, you really can't climb out without help. And so we look up and what we don't see is everybody just walks away because they're uncomfortable with it. Or they help down and say, how'd you get yourself down there? What were you thinking?
Why don't you just get yourself out?
Just do this, just do that. And I'm going to throw down a 37-page form. And if you fill it out and you qualify, we'll come back and help you. So it's just like, we really just need to, instead of like, need to build bridges.
Build a bridge, build a rope ladder, pull you out.
You need a helicopter and a rope. I was a helicopter, the rope was a lawn. And that's what first responders are. But then we need as a community to build bridges and to welcome people.
Right. And do that. And then sometimes those first responders are left behind as well, seeing so many things and feeling so helpless that they can't do anything. the ones who do care, that just, it eats at them. I've seen my son and heard him talk about, he can't talk about things, but you see it in him, the weight that he's carrying sometimes with these stories and who it is, and what the helplessness that they can only do so much. And it's so heartbreaking at times to watch my children who have gone through things, or siblings and things like this. It is. It's hard. And sometimes you don't know what to do. And sometimes it's just being there, right? Just listening.
Yeah.
Just being present.
Exactly. Just listening, being with them, asking them what they need, because they usually know. You know, they used to call that secondary trauma. First responders have secondary trauma. It's not, it's first trauma.
First trauma.
You're it. It's your trauma is like their trauma.
They're part of it too. Yeah.
The hardest cases are when babies get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Children get hurt. And those, for my daughter is a detective on a major crimes team. My son was an officer before he changed jobs to something that pays way better. And both of them, and my daughter, the medical examiner, every time something's been really hard, they can't talk about it. They can point at the news story maybe, but they're not supposed to, you know, so they don't say anything. Yeah. But I know, because we have Facebook, and in the city, I don't think it's as true as it is in a rural area, but whatever is happening is on there before it's over.
Yep.
And I can see where she's been, and I can see what's been happening.
Everything is on social media now.
It's actually kind of a good thing, because when there's a tsunami warning coming, they get on, we all know. So it's good.
We all know. Yep. You'll be good.
Yeah.
But it also makes us so, maybe some of us are aware of what's going on, that too, where we wouldn't normally be able to know.
No, and people's names go out, which probably shouldn't.
And then there's that part. The good and the bad and the ugly on all ends of that.
Yeah. So when you know somebody, I was saying, when you know somebody, our desire is not to be that somebody, especially if it's like a friend and somebody's had an affair and everything's falling apart, right? And so we'll start thinking, well, that happened because she drinks and I don't drink. Or that happened because she doesn't take care of herself. Well, no wonder he cheated. And then we say things to them like, I've got a gym membership. I could help you so that you'd have a better marriage, get in shape.
Right.
And we send these messages, but what we're really doing is we're pushing them away. I'm not like you. I don't drink. This can't happen to me, because we're afraid it can.
Yeah.
And that's what victim blaming is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And often it's because we are afraid of that it could happen to us, and we don't want it to. So we're hoping that everything we're doing is the right things.
Yeah. We're looking for magic feathers.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. We're looking for magic feathers. Something to make us feel safe.
When in the reality, you can be doing everything right, and things happen, and people make choices, and this world.
I promise you, when things happen to me, I was such a good little girl, and I was so naive. And I think that was the problem, was I was a really good girl and naive, and I didn't pick up on the clues fast enough. I knew something was wrong. I was talking to a doctor, a couple other people, but yeah. So
once you're out of it, and you look back, you're like, oh. But until
she
then,
was a spoiled brat. Yeah.
Yeah. So
probably true.
Yeah. Your first book was this story to help them understand. How did that then become your journey into writing more and what you're writing about now?
Well, I was kind of writing in a silo. My last child had gone to college. I just left this job I loved, and I had more to say. And so I wrote it like over a year with my sister, because she was a teacher and she's friends with Richard Paul Evans, and they would travel. And so she was really encouraging. And when we got to the end, he told her, a lot of people told us, everybody knows you'll almost never get published traditionally.
Yeah, exactly. And
so one night, it was 8:04, which is a magic number for me. I was sitting at the kitchen table, and I just sent it off. And Cedar Fort took it.
Wow.
So I'd sent it to Deseret Book, and they came back with, that's probably better for like Shadow Mountain, Cedar Fort.
Yeah.
But they'd already taken it. So that was great. And I had no idea what I was falling into. None whatsoever. Their marketing person called me. She said, so what's your marketing plan? And I'm on the beach. Marketing plan? Am I supposed to market?
I thought it was a publisher's job.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, no, they don't.
No. we'll get you. And so I think they got me on KSL and they called me and they're like, can you come up? We want to put you on the show. And I was so naive. I said, oh, maybe some other time. I'm out on the coast right now. I do visit up there. I should have bought a plane ticket, just gone and had fun,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I'm frugal. So I didn't. So
Yeah.
then I wrote the next book about something I was seeing and taking a training on. It was a girl that had a close brush with sex trafficking in a
Mhm.
small town. But then the next 6 books are about the advocate's daughter. And, that she had some history, her mother and her, and they wanted to keep it quiet. And her father walked away from a prison work program. It made the news and it made social media. So she's in high school. She likes the library, super shy, and has a friend that's super snarky, which I really love. And she gets outed in the middle of talking to this boy that she's got an absolute crush on.
Oh no.
He accepts her. He doesn't judge her. And then later on, you find out why.
Hmm.
So all of those books are filled with types. There's no true story that I can tell ever. I
Right.
only put things in books that I've seen like a half dozen times, a dozen times.
And then it's a generalization truth, right? Yeah.
It's a generalization, but in all of them, I try to have 5 red herrings at least. Lots
Mm.
of love triangles, and I will make you know that this must be the killer. This has to be it, and you will hate them. And about halfway through, I'm going to shift it, and by the end of the book, you're going to love them. You're going to love them so much they'll make you cry, honestly. And it's like there's a boy that threatens to burn the school down. He's kind of this smelly kid, and he's been fighting with her family member, and they go to talk to him, and they go to the trailer park he lives in, and they find him babysitting like 6 children because his mother is single and she works nights and she's asleep. And they watch him, and he's just this phenomenal brother, just great. So I think that's the truth about us.
Mhm.
We can be in hard spots and still be the most loving mother on the planet. So
Mhm.
loving that we're still there because we can't figure out how to get out.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then this series, I'll give you a secret that I don't tell you in the book.
Mm.
Um, the main character is one of those kids from the 6 books. Yeah. Yeah. And you'll figure it out like halfway through if you read any of those books.
Uh-huh.
If you didn't, it's okay. It's not going to change the story at all.
Right.
Right.
But it
And
makes
both
that
books are
connection.
standalone.
Yeah.
It's fun though. If you read those books, it's like, oh, I have people write me. Yes. And they tell me that. I'm like, yep, good job.
Good job. You figured it out. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's super fun. And then part of her past collides with her present in the book I just released, which is fun too.
Very
So
cool.
I really
And
love happy endings.
when you've been through what you have, yeah, to know that there's hope at the end is always,
Yeah.
no matter how hard the life, no matter how difficult the situation, there is always that hope. Is so it's inspiring to do that too.
Yeah. Well, you have to find out ways to be happy when things aren't going well.
And you can. There's always a way.
Yeah. I remember when I was single and I had like the lawyer's bills and everything spread out on the dining room table and I was making nothing. I
Mm.
just gotten a job teaching in a little private school and daycare because I didn't want to be anywhere my kids were. I was a full-time mom and they were still struggling. So I took a low paying job and I'm looking at it and, I'm talking to him like he's in the room. This is just because, and I hear his voice, what he would say. And then I realized, like, I took a breath, and outside I could hear my kids playing on the lawn and laughing and giggling. And it was sunny and it was Saturday. And I had this thought go through my head, Shannon, there's nobody else here but you. You're abusing you. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
You're hurting you. And so I went outside and told my kids, it's park day. You got to pick the park. And Saturdays, we could always afford to go to a park. So we did. So
Oh,
yeah.
beautiful. We often do that, I think. I don't think, and it doesn't even matter who you are. We often are our own worst enemies when it comes to finding joy sometimes. Yeah.
Well, when we do that, I had somebody say that I really love that I was talking to, so not in the job. And they said, it's ruined my life. I'm ruined. Nobody will ever want me. I'll be alone forever. And my first response was, don't give him that power. He doesn't deserve that.
Exactly.
Why are you letting him dictate the rest of your life? We have got this. You're going to be great. And she is. But that's a feeling that we hear, and then it's reinforced.
Yep.
Because we teach our kids, don't come home, don't go out with friends, don't drink, because that will happen, and then you'll be ruined.
Yep.
We got to be careful.
When God's
right?
grace is so healing.
Is so, yeah. The woman at the well had 5 husbands. Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying not to be Liz Taylor, but I could be.
And he doesn't condemn her. He just, and I love the unnamed women in the Bible.
Oh, yes. So great.
Are so beautiful because their stories are the ones that are the most touching to me. The woman who's condemned of adultery, the one who cut the hem of his skirt, the woman at the well. None of them are named.
No.
But they're
the most profound moments.
Right. Yeah. The most broken, the most condemned, the most seen and hurting themselves and others around them because of their situation. But God and Christ are like, no, you're loved. Don't go and do any more, but love you. And can be healed because of your faith. And that's the beautiful part too, is like that faith and just to believe in ourselves can be so healing with that power as well.
To believe that you can be okay even when you're not perfect. And to know, we look at them and we have, and this is just the truth, nobody really knows the woman at the well story. Nobody. She could be doing what she's doing to stay alive. We have no idea what people are in her life. She's out in the middle of the day in the heat because she doesn't want to see anybody. She knows things aren't okay.
Exactly.
But he knows our story, and we can know her story if she's in our life by listening and watching and by giving her all that grace and looking for the strong things she's doing, because she will be.
Yeah.
And then encouraging her.
Yeah. There's so many of them in our lives if we just look around. And
men and women, actually. It's very true.
Exactly.
And the numbers are changing. Men are reporting. It's nice.
It is good. I've seen that happen so many times. Even in schools nowadays, you see that abusive type of relationship starting to happen. And a lot of boys that are getting in that situation, and I start to see it, and I'm like, so it's something that's and you're like, wow, how do we teach this? And then change this thing. It's
If you are listening to this and you're wondering, how can you see? What are you seeing? What does it look like? When do I know that one of my kids is headed in a direction that might not be good? Everything kind of boils down to power and control, sexual and interpersonal violence. It's one person wanting to take power over the other one. There's a man called Dr. Evan Stark, and he did a training and I got to go. And he said, people that become abusive often have really low self-esteem. They have a tremendous fear of abandonment. They know they don't deserve you. And so they do things to keep control and so that you won't leave them.
Yep.
And if you do what they want, maybe fine. It's when you stop doing what they want that things get out of hand. Exactly. And so, for your kids, it's hard. I think I managed it to teach kids that you can love everybody where they're at. We are basic people. And if you will just remove the shame, remove the criticism, and allow them to be, give them grace, help them out, they won't go as far down in the crevasse. Yeah. They won't drop so far that they can't get out by themselves. And that's really what you want, is to stand at the edge. There was a number at one time that there was 11% of women went from one relationship to another abusive relationship. And so I was doing the county data and I got up to about 450 cases. And we were talking about an abuser and how he's always, and I knew it was a new girlfriend. I knew it. And I had the guy and the girl, so I could sort it. Guess what? It was 3%. 3% of 450 people had one other person in their life. But we had a number of people that were really dangerous, who'd had 2 or 3 people. And so as officers and community, we were saying, why did she just stay? Why did she leave? They go back, and it's not always what you think it is or what we've taught people it is. You need to look at your community and see what you can do. Yeah. Anyway, I'll stop preaching.
No, I love the preaching. I think that's so important for people to hear and to know, because if we don't say it again, they're not going to know. Yeah. And so many times they don't recognize it because we don't teach it. We don't talk about it. It's still shut doors of the 50s. It's in their thing. And
well, we want to be separate from it. If it only happens in low-income housing and poverty makes you violent, since I'm middle income,
I'm good.
And
my neighbor's good. Can't be there. Yep.
And instead of being separate when we cross paths.
Make those connections.
Reach out.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. So these last 2 books were super fun. So they do go in order, but the last one really could be read alone. And it starts out with, she's finally put her life together. It's perfect. Mm-hmm. And then her boss has this gorgeous home in a big Downton Abbey Hogwarts library. And she does his antiquated book. I'm the antiquarian books. She finds out what their value is. She's still in the library. And she goes over to the house, and Anderson is more like a father than a friend to him. Mm-hmm. And he tells her, Rhoda's coming to town. If you pack your bags right now, you can get out of town before she gets here. And he's like a big Marine. And she's like, I've never seen you afraid before. I think it'll be great. I can't wait to meet her. And he looked at her and he says, you should be afraid, very afraid. And you can wait to meet her. You don't want to meet Rhoda. And that's his mother, or potential mother-in-law. And then somebody dies and somebody says, do we really need to find out? Is this a bad thing? Because they're that annoying. And all the things that we say and think and to our best friend, like, dude, thank heaven so it's kind of like, sadly, she dies in front of the police chief and book club. Like, they're all there. Yeah, officers, they're all there drinking their morning warm chocolate, eating cinnamon rolls, and there she goes in the restaurant. And I kind of spoiled a little bit for you, but not too much, I hope. And it's just,
I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, well, I hope it's fun. The town is exactly like my town. The people, so it is small town beach. Everybody. Sadly, all their business usually, especially if you have kids in school. And at the same time, there are these hidden gems right in the middle of everybody. So
I love it.
Yeah.
So amazing. Mm-hmm. Well, it has been so incredible to talk with you. Where can we find your books? Where can we follow you and connect in these ways to reach you?
Well, they're on Amazon. These last 2 books are on Amazon, and I just uploaded one, and I'm trying to get the other one up on the Ingram Spark. So if you have a library or a school or a bookshop, a small bookstore, because I love our local small bookstores, you can order it that way. And I'm trying to get a hardback up. So I'll do that, and then we'll work on the audiobook. There are audiobooks of the YA series of the high schoolers, and they're fun. It's a really cool reader. And I know Cedar Fort is always putting them on a discount website. I always say, go to the website, you get it cheaper. So you can go to Cedar Fort too. And they actually bought 2 books I self-published. They have an app and put them on their app. So it's an app where you buy the app and then you get anything that's in there. So it's kind of cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you've published some with Cedar Fort and some are indie then?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to show you a picture because guess what? You see that? I can't see what you're seeing because I've got this thing.
Martyr book. I can see the martyr book.
Yeah. You see this?
Yes.
My book club, my newsletter named it. It was so fun. They sent 80 names in and we had a vote. But I haven't touched it yet. Oh. I uploaded it like right back, and I'm still waiting for one to come in the mail. So I'm excited.
That'll be fun. So much good.
It always is.
Very good. Very cool. Yeah. So can we follow you on Instagram or Facebook or anything? Mm-hmm. Support you that way? Where are we at?
Yes. My last name is Symonds, but it's spelled, I thought it was French, like Symonds, or redneck, like Symonds, but it is Scottish, apparently Scottish royalty.
That is true. You're right. It is.
Yeah.
Got it. Yes.
And during genealogy, that's where I found the Roundies.
Love my Jenny. Right.
So,
That's
yeah,
what I always do. Back to school.
Yep.
Yep.
We found out 3 of our kids' spouses were on the same wagon train. It was hilarious. I mean, it was really hilarious. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Holy cow.
Where we can find you.
Oh, where you can find me in the book.
Facebook.
On
Instagram,
Instagram. If you go to Instagram right now, I'm giving away this cool box of all these bookish things like socks and candles and, drink bottles and a t-shirt that says, I have no shelf control. And it's a shelf of books because I don't either. It's really dangerous in a bookstore. And so you can enter that. And I'm leaving it up until after Thanksgiving. And then Shannon Symonds author, and it's spelled Symonds.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Any last words you'd like to leave for our audience that you want to share or feel inspired to leave with them?
Well, I want to say thank you for letting me go on and on and on. Shame on me.
No, that's great. I think the conversations I like to have, this is what's important to us. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you know somebody and it scares you a little, just ask them, what can I do to help? What do you need? And we say all the time, I'll pray for you. That's great. Do that. That is a good thing to do. But it's really nice when you say, can I do anything for you? And it's okay to say no if they ask something you can't do. And that is much better than starting a sentence with, if you just do this, everything will be okay. Because life isn't like that. We all get choice. So yeah.
An incredible conversation. This is one of my rants, so I was excited to talk with you about it because I know one of my things that I get passionate about as well. So it was very exciting to see this was going to be a great talk. So thank you very much for sharing with me.
Thanks, Tanya.
Your experiences.
It was fun.
Everyone, hey, if you're struggling or if you know someone who's struggling, have them reach out to the crisis centers, 988 as well for mental health issues. I'm going to take a moment right here and reiterate what Shannon told me after the interview, was to remind everyone that if you are in trouble or you know someone is in trouble, please have them call on a separate phone, not their own, because that too could endanger them. So back to our interview. Please ask what they need and see people. We're all loved. We all have a story. Reach out. Know you're loved. And we'll see you next time around Rants, Raves, and Reviews.
Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you. Have a great one.